simply describe carbon capture and storage to us? How do you explain it to mere humans such as I?
Yes. Well, then I try to speak human language when we talk
Yeah.
about carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Usually that's the abbreviation that people use, CCUS. So
Mhm.
carbon capture, utilization, and storage. Some people call it sequestration. So really put it simply, what it means is that capture the CO2 from an emitter, be it a coal-fired power plant or a cement plant or whatever factories that is burning fossil fuel, capture that CO2 from the smokestack and then bring it either to utilization, for example, making into building materials, making into alternative fuel like methanol. The other way may be simply storing them underground. Say, for
Mhm.
example, in a depleted oil field, or maybe in sitting aquifers, right? So that achieves the purpose of preventing the CO2 from emitting into the atmosphere. So in other words, since we're digging out fossil fuel and burning them, let's return the fossil fuel back into the ground in its carbon dioxide form.
How does it actually work?
There are a few ways you can achieve carbon capture. Broadly speaking, we classify them as pre-combustion capture, post-combustion capture, and oxy-fuel combustion. So pre-combustion capture, as the name suggests, we try to capture CO2 before the fossil fuel is burned. What really happens is that we convert that fossil fuel into a form, for example, converting coal into hydrogen or converting natural gas into hydrogen, and then take out the carbon component through carbon capture. Right? And then the rest goes into the power plant or going to the industrial part, pure hydrogen. So that is where there won't be any CO2 emission during the burning process. So that's pre-combustion capture. In post-combustion capture, we burn the fossil fuel, and then there will be CO2 in the exhaust pipes or in the chimneys. So the most common one is to use a solvent or amine-based solvent. So essentially, it's a chemical. Just simply think about it as a passing CO2 through a pipe into a chemical, and then the chemical then absorbs all the CO2 from the mixture, from the gas mixture. So the rest of the non-greenhouse gas would then be released, provided they also meet the environmental emissions standard. So CO2 is then kept in the solvent for subsequent treatment. That's post-combustion capture. Oxy-fuel combustion is similar to post-combustion capture. So in a normal combustion process, the fuel is mixed with just air. We
Mhm.
mix with normal air for burning.
Mhm.
Whereas in oxy-fuel combustion, we actually use oxygen. So the end result, it will lead to a much higher CO2 concentration in the final emission composition, and it makes the carbon capture more efficient.